Okay, so welcome. Incredible time here because it's finally been difficult to get John Saylor for an interview. Been very difficult. I don't know why, but it's finally happening. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a little bit of a lot of people know who he is. A lot of people don't know who he is. So we're going to talk about his background, and we're going to talk about what he found to be how transitioning really to from actually traditional martial arts sport and then sport fighting at a very high level into real fighting. And because that's what we got to handle. He and we're not sport fighting any longer. If you got $1 million check a piece, we'll do it. That's not a problem. We will do that. We'll come out of retirement and we'll definitely do it. But anyway, and that's what everybody needs. Most of you are not going to be sport fighters. 1% of the population can actually be a real professional fighter. So let's talk to people who really need self-protection. So anyway, this is John Saylor, who is going to tell you about his background. What did you do, John? Where did you start?
Well, I was 14 years old, and actually I wrestled for most of my young life. But then I went into sport judo. I guess I was 14 years old when I started judo, and I'm 65 now, so it's been a while. And I just started off with judo for fun. It was once a week for a couple years, and then when I left high school, actually while I was in high school, once I got my driver's license, I was training 3 or 4 times a week. Oh. But it was still kind of fun. And then when I graduated from high school, I left high school and I trained with a man that was second in the world in judo in the 154-pound class at that time, Kilsoon Park. That's when the fun ended. That's when I was getting choked out and kicked around. Anyway, it wasn't so much fun, but he was very good. And later I trained with many other good coaches. Jim Bregman, who was a 1964 Olympic bronze medalist and 65 world medalist, the first American to do so. I'd go to his camp at the beginning and the end of every summer, every camp that he had, and a number of other judo camps. Yeah. And I started accelerating into sport judo. Eventually that led me to train with Yoshisada Yanni Ionesca, a tremendous judoist, all-Japan college champion, 2-time U.S. Olympic coach, tremendous judo fighter. It was in New Jersey, Cranford, New Jersey. For a country boy like me moving to New Jersey, that was a thrill.
It was a shock.
Yeah,
seriously. There's lots of stories. We don't have time for all the stories, but
Alvin,
I just want to bring up Alvin Collage. Was he there? Was that where you met him?
Well, yeah.
Oh, really?
Olympus. Well, even before that, he thrashed me. I was maybe 19 years old, and he gave me a good beating at the East Coast Championship. And
he's a legend. Any good people or professional wrestling.
Yeah, he wrestled as Bad News Brown, and at that time it was WWF. He wrestled Hulk Hogan and all those guys. And but I knew him as Alan Collage, one of the most dangerous men I ever knew. And fortunately, he liked me.
Yeah.
He sort of took me under his wing at camp, and then I moved out to his coach, Yanni Ionesca. Right. And that was quite an experience.
So then you competed internationally. You actually competed in more countries than I have. Things we could say about you.
But did I ever win?
Yeah. You won.
Well, anyway,
you were the Pan American champion. Right?
Yeah, I was the national champion 3 times of the U.S. Well, one was a college national, 74.
Yeah.
Then in 78 and 80, I won the heavyweight national championship. And some Pan American medals, Pacific Rim medal, and I competed.
You're in South Africa too.
Tell me that story. South Africa, Japan, South America, Canada, throughout.
Poland. You were
never.
You didn't go to Poland.
No,
oh, okay.
Never went to Poland.
You went to France, though, right?
France.
Okay. Because their team was you said they were doing a lot of better than other people. They were
France.
Yeah.
At that time, the club, the national club was the Racing Club of France. I don't know what judo had, but judo.
Well, you know, the
there.
thing, and this kind of leads where we're going to go, is that the French were always very scientific. For the non, we studied the Soviet bloc guys who were the most scientific, but for the non-Soviet bloc, the French were always very structured and very scientific.
Yeah.
Because Savat, the boxe française, that fighting was very structured, and people in it generally have a degree from the university, you know, in sport, sport training. So that's and the Dutch borrowed a lot of things from them actually. But I'm going off on a tangent. We don't want to do that. But anyway, so I mean, John has competed all over the world and came back and actually got injured. Right? That's one of the things that changed. You had a big fat guy fall on you, didn't you?
Yeah, tons of fun. I ripped my shoulder out and tore the veins and things like that. I had to have surgery right away.
Yeah, it was actually pretty serious. It's not just
it wasn't serious.
It's not a just
shoulder injury.
Yeah, it was
accumulation of other injuries.
Yeah, trauma, as we know.
Yeah, John Drager was a famous author, a martial arts author, and he was a judoist. He lived in Japan.
Right.
He wrote judo training methods. About weight training and other types of exercise for judo and many other martial art books. But he described judo as the great crippler. And I think it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, I love sport judo and everything. A couple of years ago, and I think it was 2014 in May, I went out to the Olympic Training Center. They asked me to speak at their reunion.
Yeah, right.
I was coach there for
that's one of the things we got to say.
8 years.
He was. Yeah, no small accomplishment there.
Closer to 8 years.
Yeah, 8 years
as the coach of.
The coach at the Olympic Training Center for the national
U.S.
team.
National Judo Training Squad.
So we're the guys who want to try to be on the Olympics. They come and train long term there. There's different camps as you get closer to the Olympics, and there's Olympic trials and things like that. Same thing occurs with the boxing and also the wrestling. It's the same thing. But if you're kind of in-house, or we would say in the military, or cadre of that installation, that's a pretty big deal, because then they bring in other people who are kind of flavor of the moment or something, or politically connected. But if you're there for a long period of time, it means that you know what you're doing. And John used to have to beat up those guys quite a bit because he had a lot of undisciplined guys.
Look me up.
Well, yeah, but they were undisciplined. You were telling me they would show up to training, and
their idea of training wasn't quite my idea of training that I had in mind for them.
Right.
But a lot of them were wonderful. But there were some lazy guys.
Yeah. So anyway, but what happened was, so he because we could talk for hours if we don't kind of control this a little bit. He obviously was there training at the Olympic Center, but he was no longer competing in sport judo, but he's involved at the highest level, training Olympic athletes for the Olympics, national, Pan American, international games. Yeah, Europe and many places that we could mention. But so he was doing that. But what he was also doing at that time was looking at how he could take judo and make it applicable to real fighting.
Yeah, it was always an interest of mine. The reason I went into judo in the first place back when I was 14 was to defend myself against the older guys, kids that have failed a couple grades, that had hair in their face and everything, and were bigger and stronger. And I went to sport judo, and it's helpful because you get in condition, you get attributes, you learn some skills, some of which might be applicable.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the real thing in its entirety.
Right. Yeah, the majority. There's like a conflict there. I mean, I had the same thing because I started out in traditional martial arts. So I didn't know what else. I didn't have a lot of opportunity where I lived. I mean, I just could take what I could find, which wasn't much. And then I did judo, but it was guys who they weren't anything, near what he did. These were bad, I mean, if I learned Ippon Nagi, that was a big deal or something, which is just the shoulder throw. But anyway, so the same thing happened, you know, and I was always looking for reality because I moved around. I lived a lot of places in the world, and that makes you unpopular when you're the new person.
Yeah.
And I used to get a lot of guys. I mean, I haven't talked about this really, but I did talk about all these people crying about bullying. Well, I got, you know, I can remember lunch hours, and this is back when schools didn't close their campus. I'd be dealing with 14 guys trying to, you know, they wanted to beat my ass. Now, they didn't want to kill me, but they wanted to beat me up, you know. So, I mean, I quickly decided I better learn something, you know, I better do something else. And I mentally wasn't, you know, I had the willpower that I'm not going to succumb to these guys, but I didn't have the technology. And then I looked for sports, or not sport, but traditional stuff, taekwondo and things like that. And of course, that wasn't going to work against 14 guys, or 2 or 3 even. But then later, I mean, much later, I got into the sport fighting because I couldn't make any money at the time. With MMA didn't exist or whatever, but it was still a disconnect, like we're talking about. There wasn't it. I mean, all these things you learn while you're wrapping your hands. Number one, you're putting on gloves. You're using special equipment for sport fighting, and the same thing with like judo too, right? Yeah. Oh, those are actually
barefoot.
It's pretty.
You're barefoot, which I don't recall being barefoot, and then he scrap up everything in for real.
That's a good deal.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the, you know, I mean, it's opposite. I've said this before. People are doing the opposite of what they need to do. Because they're training with no shoes on and they're putting gloves on their hands, and that's completely wrong. And anyway, so I mean, he's kind of we met each other a long time ago at this point now, and the thing is that we were both looking for the same thing. I mean, we were both looking to realism, what to do, right? Yeah, kind of like, I mean, tactically combat. See, we didn't have the terms all worked out at the time that we do now, and we were trying to become what was tactical, and we really took our backgrounds and eliminated a lot of things, but we still had that wall there. Like, you know, what's our paradigm? You know, we didn't really have the paradigm, did we? No. Not back then, but now we do. Now we do, and we kind of both turned to the idea of combat judo. It was really, and for those of you who don't know, combat judo was created in World War II. The Rangers, Raiders, and the Alamo Scouts for the U.S. and the Pacific Theater were using what was called combat judo. It was never a sport, and it's quite different than what was being used by Fairbairn and Sykes and O'Neill, and I can get into all those guys that know all about all that stuff. It was very different. So we started doing that. But I mean, I guess we could tell them, like, the big deal though was really when we found it's like, okay, I'm going to preface this by saying in any endeavor that you do, or even in technology, it's always having the right tools, isn't it? Yeah. Well, okay.
This is too cool.
Yeah. Okay. So
very effective.
Yeah. So what happened was what I was going to say. Like, we have a mutual friend, Louis Simmons, who's the greatest powerlifting coach in the world, and creates
powerlifting.
Yep, he's just phenomenal. Yes, he's a phenomenal guy. He's pretty funny too. But anyway, he created a whole bunch of tools that allow people to become better. Some of you people may know that he has belts. He has a belt squat machine that he created. He has a reverse hyper machine that he created. He uses bands. He uses chains. He does box squats. Many things. Plus, he knows all of the research. But it's these tools that allow his guys to become. Because without these tools, it's the same thing. If you need a screwdriver, but you only have a wrench, it doesn't matter. It's not going to help you. It's always having the right tools, and that's what we lacked before. We didn't have the right tools to really get you right to the.
He has a multitude of machines now. Each one is designed to
For
bring a lagging muscle group up.
Right.
Something that if they don't bring that lagging muscle group up, their lifts aren't going to go up. Yep. So it was for a specific purpose.
Yeah.
And Louis Simmons is a genius.
Yeah.
But Chris has his moments also. And one thing that he invented was this war bag, and I'm real impressed with it.
Yeah.
It's not designed to be hit with gloves. We're not going to have gloves.
Yeah.
We're not going to have.
Well, we don't want to really get too much away, because the thing is, it trains you in the same way that you get good at real fighting and handling real violence against a war bag, because that's what it's designed for. It's not a sport. See, most people are using sports stuff. They're using heavy bags, and they're using pads. And Muay Thai, you use the pads, right? The Thai pads. That's what they're known for, using the Thai pads. You really can't get good at Muay Thai without those Thai pads. You have tools for everything. Those are sports tools, though. Those aren't tactical tools. And what we need to say is that we started seeing a disconnect between like tactical handgun guys or carbine or shotgun guys. Right. And because I was a military trainer, so this is something that I brought in from training military guys, and you're not using sporting stuff to train them, because that's not what they're doing. But there's a disconnect between what do you do if you're coming into the room and you can't get, or someone jumps out at you and is too close, like here to me, I can't get to the gun, or he has a knife out. Sport guys have zero answer for that, and neither do the traditional guys. I don't care what they say, they don't have an answer to any of that. And we saw the tactical guys are struggling with that. They're struggling a lot with that, and they also are kind of going on the false assumption that everybody can have a gun 24/7. Some of the guys in the tactical arena, no, you can't. I mean, nobody does. United States, the only place anybody's going to have a gun most of the time, but they don't have it 24/7. They don't take it everywhere they go. You can't travel with it. You can't go to, you just can't, and you're not going to get to it. People say, I have it in the safe, and one of the things we like to say is like, John has a whole bunch of music equipment, but just having a guitar doesn't make him Jimmy Page. You know what I mean? The same thing with a gun. If you have a handgun, that doesn't make you a Delta operator. You have to go through the classes and the courses and practice. But what we've done is we have war bags. We have a reaping machine, which is created for one specific thing that we do that's very important to combat judo. That's really exciting. I mean, you have to see this stuff. It's just this just exponentially increases your skill and your ability to use what is correct. And then the combat judo itself is it's very specific. It's not a sport, so you're not trying to make a sport fit. You're not Rogan talking about MMA guys can fight. No, they can't, because they're not trained for every environment. They don't go against multiple weapons. You never see the lights go out in the cage and then two other guys come in. That's exactly what and that's what the war bags are exactly for.
We might situation who wants to train. We might it might be in the dark. We might just catch something. If we're lucky, we get a hand up. This is where it starts.
Yeah, it's where it starts. I mean, we
could be fighting out in the snow.
And
we could be leaving a club, going to our car in the snow.
There's all sorts of things that go on. And if you're training in a gym, in a ring, or in a cage, the mats are good, the lighting is good, the temperature is good. You're in a t-shirt, shorts, rash guard, gi. That's not what it's going to be like. And you got to have things that are applicable to every environment, that'll work when you're tired, when you can't see very well, when you're carrying a lot of weight. Because see, I train military guys, and there's plate carriers. They're carrying plate carriers. They're carrying equipment. They're carrying in pounds. They're carrying like at least 70 pounds of stuff. You're not doing MMA crap with that. You're not shooting for a takedown, which would be stupid. Because as we say, you never saw Vikings doing omoplata, did you? Yeah, kind of difficult. It's impossible that you're going to die. But what we were trying to say, though, but we did, when we had to see, we were both on this martial arts quest or journey or something, like a lot of you are. But a lot of you are stuck, see, and you don't want to waste a lot of time. You don't want to spend a lot of years doing this. You're not in your 20s or your early 30s, and you can't spend 3 to 4 hours a day training and thinking about it, going to the gym. You can't do that. And stuff is not applicable. See, I train military guys. We don't spend they're not training 3 to 4 hours a day to keep the skills up. I go through a special, our training is very different. Our teaching is very different because the learning is very different. It's just, it's exciting to see. I mean, John has witnessed it because we started implementing it, and it's amazing results, isn't it?
It is. You know what I like to think of it? I like to think of it this way, that we're giving our guys what we wish we had when we were starting.
Yeah,
this is exactly
what
I wish I had.
Yeah, me too.
14 years
me
old,
too. I would save a lot of time.
A lot of, you know, I mean, I managed to avoid the golden swirl. You know,
but yeah, I agree. I agree with you with that because that's where we're at. Finally, we're able to give other people. We're able to serve other people with the things that we wish we had back when we started. Because we've got way over 10,000 hours apiece involved in all aspects of fighting, and you know, and I'm talking knife, stick, you know, all that stuff for me. And we know that most of it is not useful. It's detracting. Yeah.
I mean, you found out a lot of things. You tried a lot of things that didn't work.
Right. Well,
you can streamline the process now.
We save other people a lot of the time, but it's also our instructional technique is very different than anything you've ever seen, and it's, you know, it's, you got to do it, and that's one of the things I got to say. We have actually an opportunity for people next week. We have a camp coming up, and that's going to be held here we're in Ohio right now, Perrysville, Ohio. It's about the center of the state, and that is an environmental training. It's our cold weather hostile immersion, although it's not going to be that cold, I don't think. We don't know, but it's cold compared to, I mean, I live in the jungle, right? It's cold compared to the jungle, but this is something, I mean, the excitement we have about this stuff is incredible. And the things that we're doing and the tools that we have, just, it's unbelievable, because I'm out there using these tools every day right now. And it's just, man, it's a great feeling. And it's, if you care about self-protection for yourself, I mean, this should resonate with you. If you realize that you want something that's really going to work, that's what we're doing. I mean, that's what we looked a long time, and it took two of us really to get this going. It wasn't just one person; it was both of us together. A synergistic thing. We attack each other all the time too. It keeps us going. Keeps us going. Yeah. So yeah. Oh, look what I happen to have here. All the time. Yeah. Well, it's it's what
teaching that you have. We took normal people.
Right.
I mean normal. These weren't athletes. Many of them. A couple of them had some background, but very few.
Yeah.
And by the end of 12 hours, there's a transformation.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, people
how much progress.
You think that's nothing? It's a big deal on how we're doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, even the tea drinking smuggler was
shows some promise.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, we have to bring that up. We have a guy who likes to drink tea. I mean, you know, that's not very manly, is it? You know, no, I don't think so. But I have to work on it. He'll be down here with his Zen state pretty soon. Yeah, I don't know what he's drinking. You know, who knows? I don't know. It's algae tea or whatever you call that stuff. You know,
whatever it is.
Yeah, it's gonna. You don't want it. It does weird stuff to you. But what we're doing now is that we're trying to get, you know, we're launching this combat judo thing. And by the way, you probably saw us in Soldier of Fortune. We were in Soldier of Fortune recently, magazine, and you're going to see us more. We're doing more and more. We're going to have more talks. There's a lot of things that John can tell you about his background that is going to be interesting. And then there's more things because we want to get you excited. We actually, the real reason we're right here is because we want to tell you that now there is an opportunity for those people who have that disconnect between, well, you know, I'm a tactical handgun guy and I need unarmed skills, or I need knife skills, or, you know, even stick skills, because that's what's going to be lying around and able to grab. But I don't know where to go to. I don't want to spend 20 years doing traditional martial arts. I don't want to go into Filipino martial arts and learn a bunch of numbers and patterns that probably aren't applicable. And I definitely don't want to do sport fighting, because how does that apply? You know, putting gloves on, what's that? You know, I mean, So we want you to know that now we exist. And those of you who have been doing traditional type martial arts or sports stuff, and you want to know what you should be doing, because a lot of sports stuff, your targets are wrong, your targets are wrong, your striking is wrong, your throwing is, we cover that. Like we're talking about, even in MMA, some of the throws that you attempt at MMA are things you would never do in real combat. You know, you wouldn't do it. And as far as the striking goes, completely wrong. almost everything's completely wrong. And it's totally different. But, you know, we don't want to say anything other than, you know, come see us. The website is combat-judo.com. It always has our information about what training we have available, what's going on with us. But I just let you know, so we have a upcoming 3-day. That's if you want to do the whole thing. You can do, it's a Friday evening, a Saturday, 5 hours, and then Sunday 5 hours. Or you can take a short course on Saturday, just for Saturday for 5 hours. And for new people who've never trained with us or whatever, they just want to come in and get an idea of what we're doing. You can learn about why tactical strategy methods are very different than technique-based martial arts, because that's another thing. Sports guys are technique-based. We're not technique-based. And techniques don't win wars. Strategy and tactics do. If you read any history, you can come on Friday evening. It's 2 hours, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Yeah, okay, so it's the 2nd of March is the Friday for 7 to 9 p.m. and then the 3rd is Saturday, 5 hours, and then Sunday is 5 hours, which is the 4th. So, you know, hey, we welcome you to try it. It can only make you better. I mean, we're very excited about it, and you get to see our war bags, which well, there's a lot of fervor about them. A lot of people, and some people have seen them. They don't know how to use them. We'll teach you how to use them. But anyway. I mean, that's it.
What kind of clothing should they be?
Oh, well, yeah, well, that's the thing. So layers, because it's, and that's the thing too, because this is environmental, like we were talking about. You're going to be like you would be being attacked. You're not going to the gym. Have you been attacked in the gym? I mean, seriously attacked in the gym? Someone tried to kidnap you there, rob you? I don't know what gym you're going to. You know, maybe Detroit is downtown, maybe Kronk, you know, for boxing or something, or Philadelphia, some places in Philadelphia. But besides, I mean, we're training in the winter type of clothing, but layers, so that depending on the temperature, you're going to have boots. You know, wear boots because it's muddy. It's going to be at least muddy, maybe some snow, but it's going to be muddy at the least. And you're going to wear the clothes that you normally wear in that type of environment. You're not going to train artificially. I guess. Yeah, gloves or mittens, and that changes everything. I mean, everything. Have you ever done that? Have you ever worked anything? Have you gone to Filipino guys and put on, you know, Arctic mittens? I have some. I should have brought them out here. You can't do things with those Arctic mittens on. I mean, it changes everything. You can't get the things. We'll show you. We'll show you exactly what works. So we do. That's what I've been doing for a long time. So I've just taken what I did with the military, and now I'm applying it now to normal people, ingredients, and we're covering it. It's really exciting because everybody who did it before, we ran a camp in August. Everybody's come back. Everybody who did the whole camp is here because they grew to it. I mean, I get excited. It's a movement. It's really a movement. It's a tactical warrior movement. We're filling that gap. I mean, man, there's martial arts and there's tactical stuff, you know, military, but people don't know how to make them fit unless you were a Viking or a Spartan or a Roman. I mean, you know, it doesn't exist anymore. So, you know, that's what we're doing. But I mean, that's it for right now. I mean, we'll be back because Senior Master Instructor Saylor has lots of stories that we can tell you over the time.
A couple of them are true.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I got some stories about them too. I can tell those stories. And well, even here, stuff that happened here. Yeah, we customized the training camp here a couple times back when it was really cold. It was really cold. Anyway, we'll get into those some other time. But I just want to, you know, hey. Check us out again. Hey, like, share this as much as possible because it helps get people who might be interested. Like I'm saying, a lot of people out there have the same interests as we do. They want to know about real self-protection. And so here's the opportunities. And the only way they know is if you help them and share it to them. So let them know. And so that's true. That's right. That's true. And
that's the best way to figure it out.
That's right. And if your name is Smuckler, you might just get a special treatment going for him, because you know, we aim to improve everyone, regardless, don't we? Regardless of whatever they do. I mean, it's kind of an inside thing, but come and meet Smuckler. You know what I'm saying? That'll be well worth it. I think some other characters. We got some other characters too. And, yeah, we got some characters. And but see, but come and be part of the movement. It's kind of like a tribe, I guess. I don't know if you want to use that term or not. It's like a tribe. You know, it's pretty weird. It's a lot like a World War II movie, isn't it? It's like, you know, like you watch, Dirty Dozen or something like that. It's kind of that type of characters we got so far. You know, we got a few upstanding guys, but we got a couple guys that are pretty upstanding, and then we got, you know, some guys that I don't really know what they're doing. You know, they play with snakes in their free time and stuff. You know. Anyway, you know who you are. I don't have to mention your name or anything, or names, I should say. But anyway, okay, so thanks for watching. Share the video of us, I should say. And we'll talk to you again pretty soon, okay? So thanks. Coolness, right? See ya. If I can get us out of here. It's always fun. We're playing jazz.